The next stage in the designing is looking at the sampling process or the sampling procedure. Broadly, after identifying the sample size, the method is to look at two ways of sampling. One is called the probability sampling. The probability is there is every chance of considering all the members of the sample. There is a probability of getting chance of everybody getting selected is there in probability sample. Then within the sampling there is another called as non-probability, where there may not be all who can be randomly selected. Now here in probability there are again two kinds of probability sampling, that is simple random stratified random. Now there will be strata, say within the consumers whom we want to survey. In probability, in simple random, we will take a lottery and whomever name comes, they will be interviewed. So there is every chance of everybody and anybody can come there. Then there are some cases where even among the sample which you have selected, there could be groups where you want to give equal importance to all the groups. So you may want to select from each group a particular ratio. So you are stratifying the sample. So when it comes to non-probability, there is a convenience and judgment. In the convenient and judgment, the respondents or the sample is selected based on the convenience. Suppose we are doing a survey on a particular store and the consumers are to be interviewed. As per our convenience, we may take the customers who might look that they actually purchased. Those who are coming out with the bag could be, or those who are willing to give response, or those whom we find that they are going to respond. So we are going by the convenience. And sometimes we also judge about this person is knowledgeable, he is going to give the information. And we collect from the experts many times the information. So both are under non-probability. Hence in the sampling procedure, we will broadly look at probability sampling or non-probability sampling. And in probability, we may go with simple random or stratified random, or in non-probability, we may go with convenience and judgment sampling. The next step, a major step, is designing the questionnaire. Because The designing of the questionnaire would be as per the objective of the research and information or data that is required to solve the problem. So, the questionnaire should be strictly adhering to the objective and should provide the data or information which we are looking for to solve the problem. So, for collection of data, suitable questionnaire has to be prepared. All necessary care should be taken in order to prepare ideal questionnaire so as to collect required information easily, quickly, accurately. Now, there is a procedure that is normally followed while making the questionnaire. As part of the ethical research procedures, the researcher has to clearly tell the objective of the study or research to the respondents. So, at the very outset, the respondent should not have any doubts in the objective. So, the objective of the research has to be mentioned, and what is going to be the result of that research also should be known to the respondent, and he has to be assured that the data that he is providing would not be misused or abused, and he should be told clearly wherever he has doubts or he wants clarification. The researcher has to provide the solution and clear all doubts, whether in the beginning or at the end or during the survey. So, the objectives, results and what is expected from the researcher and the confidentiality of the information has to be clearly told to the respondent. And the questionnaire construction should start with the simple questions and familiarizing questions, and it should go progressively towards the tough questions. Normally, there are two types of questions. One is closed ended, the other is open ended. So, in the beginning, the consumer should not be made to think by an open ended questions. Even in the closed ended questions, there can be dichotomous, say yes or no. This would be more easy for a respondent to begin with or familiarizing. So, the sequence of the questions should take from simple to the difficult questions, and from the closed ended dichotomous question to open ended and multiple options. The respondent also should not be given confused questions. He should not get at anywhere the confusion that what the researcher wants to know or what data he wants. Some of the questionnaires will start, what is your income? So, the respondent will get shocked. The very first question is talking about the income. Are you from income tax department? So, you should not ask such questions in the beginning itself. After familiarizing, after sympathizing and understanding, the respondent may provide even if you ask later on. And some questions would be very silly, they are not framed after thought or after the questionnaire is made, that has to be tested. There has to be a pilot study that has to be done. Not many researchers do that to understand the problems in the questionnaire itself. So, some questionnaires will ask, are you married? Yes or no. Then the next question, even if they say I am not married, then the next question would be how many children you have. So, the researcher should be clearly looking at what question should follow or what question can be skipped. In that case, you should say the question will be skipped and go to the next 8 questionnaires. Suppose if 6th question says, are you married or not? If it is no, then it should say go to question number 8, not 7, which deals with how many children you have. Such kind of meticulous planning, and there should not be too many statements in the same questionnaire. Do you buy luxury brands? What brands do you buy? So, if the question is no, where is the question? The respondent will get confused. If I say no, should I answer the next question or not? So, they are to be separated. There are sometimes loaded questions. Killing animals is cruel. Are you vegetarian or non-vegetarian? So, the respondent naturally, when you talk about the killing of animals as cruel, and next you are asking whether he is a vegetarian or non-vegetarian, naturally the respondent will be preferring that he is a vegetarian because he don't want to be branded as a cruel person. So, these are called as loaded questions. So, the respondent should not be given such kind of confusing, loaded. Many times some researchers will be asking informally the questions. So, that also should not be. The safest and the best way is understanding the consumer by putting yourself in the shoes of the consumer and expecting what kind of questions as a respondent you can answer. Then the good questionnaire would emerge. And many of the questionnaires would start with the demographic questions. The name, age, income, education, place of living, children. So, not many would be comfortable when the research is about to start. They do not want to tell their age or their qualification, particularly if the person is from having low resources like education or income, or he is from a place where normally not rich people would live, he may be from slum. So, not many would be comfortable in the very beginning to provide solutions. So, in that case it is better to give or collect the demographic details at the end. So, one who is making the questionnaire has to understand all these principles of the questionnaire making before he ventures into designing the questionnaire. So, once a good questionnaire is made, normally many would say, what is the good questionnaire? There is no good or bad questionnaires. A good questionnaire is one which would broadly follow the objective and will give you the data which you are looking at without causing any inconvenience or which gives you the data with the wholehearted cooperation from the respondent is the good questionnaire. So, that is the simple test to understand what is the good questionnaire. So, having designed the questionnaire, the next is designing a sample of respondents. For data collection, a representative group will have to be selected out of the total universe. The sample design should be adequately representative in character. It must represent the total population as we have seen. So, then collection of the data. Data are to be collected as per the method selected for data collection. If mail survey method is selected, questionnaires will be sent by post to the respondents. If personal interview method is selected, interviewers will be given suitable guidance, information, training for the conduct of personal interview. And data collection should be quick, and the data collected should be reliable and adequate and complete in all aspects. Now, having collected the data, next it has to be organized and processing of the data. The completed questionnaires are not useful directly for tabulation and drawing conclusions. They need to be organized, processed properly for drawing conclusion. Normally, the coding is done. For this, scrutiny of data, editing, coding and classification of data are required. In addition, tabulation of the data collected is also essential. Such processing of the data can be integrated in a compact manner. In addition, the data are made reliable and suitably arranged for analysis and interpretation. The data analysis is today done using the computers. There are a lot of packages which would help you in the analysis of data, the SAS, SPSS, etc. Or even one can use Excel also for small analysis of the data. Conclusions can be drawn only when the collected data are arranged in an orderly manner for detailed study. In short, processing of data means verification of data collected and the orderly arrangement of data for analysis and interpretation. The steps in data processing, that is editing, coding, etc., are interrelated and need to be completed properly. The processing of data collected is a type of office work which can be attended by the office staff under the guidance of researcher and training. The processing of the data is a lengthy and time consuming activity and need to be completed properly. This is necessary for raising the accuracy and reliability of the whole research process. The processing of data collected through marketing research involves the preliminary screening of the data that is collected, editing of the data, coding of the data, classification of data into meaningful categories, and tabulation of data for easy and quick analysis and interpretation. So, now the analysis and interpretation of the data is to be understood. The tabulated data can be used for detailed and critical analysis. The purpose is to establish useful and logical relation between the information and the problem. And analysis of data should be made in a rational manner. This facilitates interpretation of data in an orderly manner, and conclusions can be drawn after the analysis and interpretation of the data. Such conclusions are useful for suggesting remedial measures. Various statistical techniques are used for the analysis and interpretation, like SPSS as we discussed. Once the data is analyzed and the findings are drawn, many think that the research has ended here. But the research don't end here unless suggestions are also offered. See, ultimately the research is done for an objective. That objective has come because of a problem, and we have seen the marketing research ultimately has to solve the problem. So, the utility of the entire research depends on the findings and the suggestions offered. Here, the services of experts also can be used for such processing of the data, findings, and even suggestions. The data that is collected, if there are any problems in understanding and interpretations, the advanced statistical tools and techniques also can be used, so that the data is properly understood and the findings are clearly drawn. So, the processing of data is like examining patient by a doctor. So, if the diagnosis is correct, the follow-up treatment or remedial measures would be appropriate to the patient and will be at the right time and to the right person. So, the same rule has to be applied in processing of data in the marketing research process. So, once the data is analyzed and findings are drawn and the suggestions are to be arrived at, the purpose of the report is, if you see and understand, is part of the marketing information system, wherein the top management has to know or get information relating to the problems and how it can be solved. So, while presenting the data that we have collected, which is in a very scattered manner, when we submit the report particularly to the CEO, it has to be in a proper format. So, in order to have that report in a document or a proper form, the process of making a report is also to be understood by the researcher. You cannot throw the information what you have as a raw information and expect a top management to arrive at a decision. So, a proper report format is to be understood. So, there will be a title page. We will quickly discuss about the report and its format. The title has to clearly suggest about what the reader would get inside. So, it could be the objective or the problem itself and what you have done. So, it could be like the title, suggesting suitable marketing strategies to restrict the declining sales for XYZ company or for a particular store in so and so place or for a particular category, or it could be to suggest measures to increase the sales of a particular product in a particular market. So, this has to be the title and that should be there in the title page, and the title page will have the title and submitted by whom, submitted to whom, when will be there so that anybody who reads the report would understand what he is going to get inside. Then the report, when it is submitted to the CEOs, he may not look at the entire report. So, probably he may want an executive summary. If the researcher has got permission and he want to tell an authentication, there are letters of transmittals also, it is given by some project, somebody has a project, whatever the correspondence you can submit here. Then the contents, if there are graphs, if there are pictures, illustrations along with the page numbers, has to be there in the title, in the contents page. So, after that, for every report there will be the introduction page or introduction chapter rather, which will talk about the background for the problem, then the problem identification, then the objectives, how it is done will be dealt with, the methodology, what is followed, if they have done any literature survey, the literature survey, then limitations, then the chapters, how they have dealt one by one can be mentioned in the report. Then after the chapters, the data, if it is collected, the data that is collected has to be analyzed, data analysis. Then from the analysis, the findings and interpretations. then the suggestions that are offered to solve the problems, and a conclusion. Sometimes conclusion and suggestions. Then the annexures, bibliography if they have record or they want to mention the sources, that can be. So, this is how a typical research report will be there. So, this is the report presentation. The presentation can also be orally. This is a written report. The report also can be made as a presentation. So, normally the report can be in two formats, that is electronic or it can be the physical copy. So, the report that is submitted has to be in a correct format, and normally it will be a self-explanatory. As we said, as you go it will explain the reader, as if you know, when you open the banana clearly you will try to eat. So, the researcher will submit the report to the decision makers in the field of marketing. The decision makers will study the report minutely and would look at the things that they can take to solve the problems, but the final decision will be taken by the CEO or the decision makers or the board or the appropriate person who has to look into it. So, if the recommendations are accepted, then the decision makers have to do the follow up for execution of recommendation. But all the recommendations should be followed up and the steps should be taken so that the results as desired are achieved. So, this is how the marketing research process ends. But many would think that with the submission of the marketing research report, once for all it is over. No. The marketing research is a continuous process. So, every time a new problem comes, new objectives are to be made, because the business and companies are going concerns, a problem after problem. But one of the factors of marketing, either product, price, promotion, place, advertising, market, consumers, at any stage there can be a problem, and if you want to be rational in the decision making, the marketing research gives a basis for solving that problem. So, the marketing research is an ongoing and continuous process that has to be built into the marketing information system of every organization. It is better if they have a dedicated team, or even if they are outsourcing an agency, they have to be constantly and continuously doing this research, keep them updated, and would be able to compete effectively. And ultimately, the purpose of marketing research is to run an organization more effectively, efficiently, and profitably. Let us, after understanding the theory on market research, let us take a small caselet which explains the concept of marketing research in a better way. So, this caselet is chosen to explain the concepts. The purpose is to explain the concepts in a more lucid and effective way. That is the objective of this caselet. Now, the real life scenario, the management of the highly successful chain of fashion and lifestyle departmental store with huge loyal customer base is looking for business expansion. Here you have to understand that we have a highly successful chain of departmental stores which is existing. You know, they are already having lot of stores and they are highly successful. Then they are looking for business expansions. So, they have taken and looking for options that they can look into as part of the business expansion. So, it is already successful and they have already established as one of the major player in the market. One of the board member suggested to take the franchisee of one of the most successful luxury brand, a fashion brand in Europe, as India is ready for the luxury brands entry and also there are a lot of rich consumers with a lot of disposable income and having global tastes and preferences, and they are already aware about luxury brands and would possess it to exhibit their status or esteem or aristocracy. So, this is the reason why the board member has suggested that they should go for expansion by taking one of the luxury brands into their business portfolio, because they are already a successful chain of stores who are having experience and who also have a lot of loyal customers. Hence, the chain of stores XYZ has taken the franchisee and launched the luxury brand next to their departmental stores on experimental basis in some of the southern Indian cities. For most of the retail stores, South India is called as the Mecca of retailing. So, normally anybody who would like to experiment would launch in these cities. So, they also started as an experiment with the South Indian cities. The brand has, the luxury brand which they have taken, they have products for men, women and kids. And the products that are offered and accessories are same as that are offered in any of their global stores of that brand with the latest design, styles, colors, sizes, features, always they are similar. And the pricing is same as that of global pricing. But charged in Indian rupees after converting dollar price into Indian rupees based on the present conversion ratio. The same promotion as done in all the global cities is adopted using the same Hollywood celebrities and the same advertising material. So, the same promotion is done even in India using the same Hollywood celebrities and the same advertising material. As a launch, a big fashion show was conducted as part of the launch plan, and lot of press, media, socialites and lot of people were invited and lot of hype was created. And they have transferred some of the sales consultants from the departmental stores to the luxury brand store for personal selling. And lot of advertisements were issued in the leading national dailies, and advertisements are also were shown on popular channels. As the days were progressing, there was very low sales, and day by day the sales are dwindling. So, the departmental store chain has sent emails and also offers to the loyal customers of its store, and still there is no response. The store even attempted discounts as a last resort, but still it is of no use. Now, the company is in a situation at crossroads. I hope you understood the caselet and the scenario. If you have understood, answer the following questions. Now, what is the problem of the chain of departmental stores? The second, what is the problem of this luxury brand store? I hope you understood. The next question is, what is the real problem of the luxury brand store? The next question, what are the problems you think the luxury brand store is facing with respect to 4 P's of marketing and segmentation? The 4 P's of marketing and segmentation. The next question is, if you were to be the marketing manager of the brand, what precautions will you take with respect to 4 P's? The last question is, if such problems should not be repeated in future, what solutions you want to offer, or what should the company be doing so that such problems are not repeated in future? So, try to answer these questions. Probably you will get a doubt here. If you understood, that's good. But when you come to the second and third question, you may be having doubt. That's what a researcher has to understand. The second question says, what is the problem of the luxury brand store? The next question is, what is the real problem of the luxury brand store? Hope you understood the difference. If you read the entire case again and again, and if you jot down the analysis, if you look at the entire environment and all the concepts that you have learnt, you would understand. Now try to solve the case. Hope you have tried to answer. Now the problem of the chain of departmental stores and objective is expansion. So more shareholder revenue, expansion, entering into new markets, that's what is the problem. But when it comes to the store, if you see, the real problem, if you look at, the sales are not happening. As simple as that. The sales are going down and there are no sales, or stagnant or going down. This is a problem. For any business, there is a problem. No revenue because no sales, there is a problem. What is the real problem? And the problem. The real problem, what do you want to solve, is sales. But the problem has come because there is a problem. Now the real problem is sales. It is because, as we all know, is because of the 4 P's. Once the 4 P's are not good and segmentation is not good, going by the theory, no marketing ever will be successful. So as a marketer, you have to understand that there is a problem with the product. It is not, need not be always in all these. When sales don't happen, it may be because of problem with the product, or problem with the price, or problem with promotion, or problem with the place, or problem with the segmenting and targeting and positioning, 1 or 2 problem with the product price, or price promotion, or price promotion place, or all product price promotion place, all could be problems. Or sometimes it could be with the correct segment you are not able to identify, or not able to identify the target, or the positioning is wrongly created. So, you have to look now from this perspective about the problems. That is why the third question talks what are the problems with respect to the 4 P's of marketing and segmentation. What are the products that are offered? What are all the prices? How it is promoted? Or the place? And who are the target customers? Now, going by the case, the departmental store which is successful, normally departmental stores well established in India would be catering to the above middle class or middle class, and they have good loyal base. The products, price, promotion, place are all different when you take the luxury product. We have already understood the luxury product, what is its characteristics. So, when we look at the luxury product and when the same departmental store which is dealing with the products which are segmented and targeted towards the middle class, above middle class, there is an image, the perception. And they are also selling the same products by the same company. So, a genuine luxury buyer would think twice. And even if somebody wants to buy, the prices are on the same as that of global prices, simply converting the dollars into rupees. And in terms of the place, it is placed next to the departmental store. And the prices, even during the no sales, they have given offers and discounts which would bring down the luxury image. And the promotion, they have started off with a bang, with a fashion show, but for the fashion show they have invited the press, the media, but all these relevant or irrelevant socialites and also lot of people who may not be their buyers. And if you look at even the way they are promoting through advertisements, the advertisements are given in the local, the national dailies and in some of the popular television channels. And emailers were sent to the prospective customers. The same customer base which are coming to the departmental store is targeted. So, for getting a holistic view about the case, one has to thoroughly understand the nature of luxury. Even for the personal selling, the same salesmen who were working or sales consultants in the departmental store were deployed. So, there is no differentiation, absolutely. Why would a luxury customer would walk into this store and buy? The luxury principle says separate the buyers and non-buyers, there has to be a distance, there has to be an image. The prices should match the image. And advertisements also are not for sales. It is just to say that, you know, they are there, and it caters to the aristocrats. And Indian consumers are different, but the consumer, though we do not know, but the advertisements are same as that of the global advertisements, and it is promoted in the same way. So, in terms of our perception, there are certain problems. So, as a marketing manager, you have to take certain precautions. And the last question says, if such problems should not be repeated in future, what is the solution? Here the group is going with an assumption and a perception that whatever they do, the consumer would accept. And they are not successful. Now, if this problem should not be repeated in future and you want to offer a solution, as we have seen, the only method, major method that is practiced is by doing marketing research. The consumer is a problem, as we all know. He only is a solution. He will tell where the consumer, where the company is going wrong. He will tell why he is not coming. He will tell what, when he will come, for that what the company has to do. So, having understood this problem, if you were to marketing, if you were to be a marketing manager, you have to think first of all from the consumer point of view. Understand the principles of luxury and its products management. And despite there would be problems, and in order to solve the problem, the marketer has a tool called marketing research. So, that has to be done. So, let us look at how. This is only an illustrative. The detailed process of solving the problem cannot be talked in this few minutes. So, we are giving broad guidelines how the company can go about in solving the problem. So, when you look at the research process, first the problem has to be identified. We know that the sales are not happening. So, the real problem could be because of, as we know from the theory, from the product, price, promotion, place or segmentation. So, we have to ask the customers, what is wrong? And before that, we all know no marketing will be successful without need or want. And we all know in terms of consumer behavior, there are many factors: cultural, personal, psychological, social. So, all those consumer behavior factors are also to be understood if you want to really have a holistic view and to solve the problem. So, a marketer should do the marketing research to solve this problem. But there is a constraint here. The company has chosen, it has a huge loyal base, and till now there is no luxury brand probably in the city, but all the rich probably is coming to the same store and they have used the same database. In the loyal customer base, there could be stratifications. There could be some middle class, there could be some upper middle class, and there could be some rich. Instead, they have taken all. Though they are constrained, they cannot talk to all the people here. While deciding the population and also the sample, they should go within this. Even the rich are super rich, you can go for these two strata and you can select only these two. Without doing that, they have approached everybody. So, the segmenting and targeting also is a problem. So, all that coupled with the consumer behavior, the product, price, promotion, place might have led, I am using the word might. So, we have to know from the customers themselves why they are not buying and what is to be done and where the company has gone wrong. So, the company has decided to do marketing research and they identified the problem, they identified the real problems, and they have identified that they will do a survey method because they cannot do here experimentation or observation. They have to do a survey based, and they have to describe, this is a descriptive research that they wanted to do. Why people are not buying, why, when they will come, this is a description. And the sample is from the loyal, is readily available. Many of the rich from the city probably are buying there and they are already there, their details are available. The company can think in terms of how to reach, their addresses, telephone number are there.